Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are unpacking a really fascinating topic. Have you ever been told you are just too observant? Well, we're going to explore why being highly aware of everything around you is sometimes a lot less of a superpower and actually more of an exhausting psychological trap.
Okay, let's start with a simple question. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly, like before anyone even says a single word, sensed that something is just off? There's no drama, nobody's yelling, but your brain has already processed an avoided glance, or maybe a sentence that sounds totally normal but is just vibrating with this weird fake energy.
To figure out exactly what is going on here, we're going to walk through 6 quick areas: the trap of this hyperawareness, where it actually comes from biologically, the intense mental and physical toll it takes on you, and finally, how to set emotional boundaries so you can transform it into a genuine gift.
All right, part 1, the trap, the illusion of the superpower. Society loves to call being highly observant a superpower, right? But if you live with it, you know it honestly just feels like a mind with absolutely no off switch. You can't just enjoy a moment. Instead, your brain packs up every social interaction, takes it home, and endlessly picks it apart. You decode it, you replay it, you take one tiny 2-second silence and spin it into an entire universe of anxious thoughts. It's totally draining because you're constantly seeing these hidden layers of meaning that everyone else just happily walks right past. Moving on to part 2, origins. Biology versus survival.
So, to stop getting completely swallowed by your own mind, we have to figure out why this happens in the first place. Empirical psychology actually splits this into 2 totally different camps. On one hand, you have highly sensitive persons, or HSPs. This is inborn. It's known as sensory processing sensitivity. Your nervous system is basically an ultrafine filter that automatically absorbs the world in super high resolution. But on the other hand, there's hypervigilance. You aren't born with this. It is a learned survival intelligence forged in emotionally unpredictable or unstable environments, usually back when you were a kid. Imagine growing up like a human radar station. Biologically, the brain's danger alarm, the amygdala, is constantly firing. It literally learns to predict a parent's mood just from the way a kitchen cabinet closes. Or it memorizes the exact sound of a car pulling into the driveway so the child knows immediately, okay, do I need to hide right now or do I need to put on a smile? The nervous system builds this entire network just to predict emotional disasters before they even happen, all just to keep you safe.
Which brings us to part 3, the mental toll, living in constant analysis mode. Now, when you take that massive childhood shield, which is basically fused to your skin at this point, and bring it into adulthood, it creates an exhausting loop. Think about this. You get a 4 p.m. Slack message from your boss that just says, "Come see me for a minute later." For a typical person, that is just a regular meeting on the calendar. But if you're overly aware, reading that instantly triggers this huge wave of tension. You sense invisible coldness, you analyze the timing, and you start relentlessly questioning, oh no, did I mess something up? And this right here perfectly illustrates your default mode network, or DMN. For a lot of people, this brain system is mostly active when they're daydreaming or resting. But if you're overaware, this network is always in overdrive. That means half of your brain is casually nodding, smiling, and drinking an iced coffee, while the other half is running a full-blown hidden marathon, interpreting and comparing literally every detail in the room.
The weight of this is so heavy. You don't just feel an emotion, you monitor and judge it. You'll feel sad and immediately start criticizing yourself for feeling sad. You also lose what psychologists call relational innocence. Because you have such a strong theory of mind, you're always peeking behind the curtain of human behavior. You know people don't always say what they mean, so you end up completely doubting the true motives behind genuine compliments, and apologies just never really feel complete.
Let's look at part 4, the physical toll, when empathy becomes physical anxiety.
All this burden doesn't just stay trapped in your head. It completely spills over into physical exhaustion. Because you have mirror neurons that make you absorb other people's pain like a sponge, essentially acting as everyone's emotional regulator, it severely overloads your interoception. This is the ability, processed by your insular cortex, to sense your body's own internal state. So instead of just existing, your body feels like it's receiving a constant, endless stream of emergency data. This creates a brutal anxiety loop. Let's say you just drank a strong cup of espresso. A simple physical sensation appears. Your heartbeat speeds up. Most people just feel a bit alert. But your overaware brain checks its data records, misinterprets that fast heartbeat as danger, and screams that you're having a panic attack. Instantly, your body activates a stress response, dumps cortisol into your system, and amplifies that sensation until you actually are panicking.
To survive this absolute sensory overload, your mind uses your awareness as a kind of armor. You fall into analysis paralysis, desperately running simulations of every single possible worst-case scenario. Subconsciously, you think, hey, if I can just predict exactly how I'll be disappointed, it won't surprise me or hurt as much. But honestly, all this does is completely rob you of the present moment. You end up managing your life like it's a high-risk project instead of actually living it.
Okay, part 5, emotional boundaries, these psychological solutions.
So how do we actually fix this? Psychotherapy shows us we can't just flip a switch and turn off this profound awareness. That would be like asking someone with perfect vision to suddenly start seeing blurry. But we can absolutely stop carrying everything. People who overcome this learn to anchor themselves with 3 freeing principles. First, realize that not every silence is a hidden message about you. Sometimes someone is literally just tired. Second, observe your anxiety without judging it. A fast heartbeat is just a physical sensation. It doesn't always need an action to solve it. And third, even if you clearly see someone's insecurity, you do not have to be everyone's therapist. You don't have to act on every insight.
Finally, part 6, transformation, from burden to wisdom.
When you finally realize that clarity is only a gift when it comes with boundaries, this beautiful transformation happens. You set down the weight of the world and your awareness actually shifts. It goes from being the sharp, interrogating laser driven by fear that exposes every flaw into a warm candle. A candle fueled by curiosity. One that's bright enough to understand human fragility, but gentle enough that you can warm yourself and others without anyone getting burned.
Look, if you have been exhausted by a mind that literally never rests, I really want you to hear this. The depth you carry is not a flaw. It is a gift that is waiting for your understanding and compassion. You aren't broken. That survival intelligence, that constant scanning, your hyper-awareness, it's a profound wisdom. You have learned to deeply understand life. Now it just needs your own understanding and compassion.
So the final thought I want to leave you with in this explainer is a challenge. Instead of managing your life like a high-risk project, constantly guarding against the ghosts of what might happen tomorrow, how will you use your beautifully intense awareness to just simply be present today? Thanks for diving into this with me. Take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, and I will see you in the next explainer.